Good afternoon, everyone. You will not see any sheep in the background because they all just escaped, which I thought would be the perfect opportunity to segue into 3 biggest challenges to consider before considering raising sheep. So I'm about to tell you all of these things that are a little bit challenging with respect to raising sheep, and I want to say it because I think that sheep are often chosen because their size makes them seem like they'd be low maintenance in comparison to other cattle or livestock and such, but really sheep are up there on the management intensive level with respect to livestock. Their size is small, but the amount of management that they need is really pretty significant. In fact, I think it's something that hasn't changed over time is the reality that sheep really do need a shepherd. They need someone to watch them on a pretty constant basis and keep track of really their individual needs as animals. So as I mention these things, I mention them all in the context of trying to help you, but also not to discourage you, because I think if you go into raising any kind of livestock with your eyes wide open to the challenges that may face you, you'll have a better chance of confronting them and being ready for them, whatever they be. So let's get to it. Number 1 is parasite management. The thing that you need to do before you consider buying sheep or raising a flock or buying a flock is you need to go to the previous owners and really drill them on what are they using to deworm their flock, how often are they using that dewormer. And when you get your flock onto your farm, you need to really maintain that regimen until you implement other things that show the parasite load in your flock is going down. Other things meaning intensive rotational grazing, and then do not change that strategy until your flock is showing a natural resistance to parasites. Just as a little bit of a backstory here, we bought the flock in and wanted to really get holistic about our approach to parasite management and all that stuff. So we, tried the garlic balls, the diatomaceous earth, scaled back, and did just a maintenance dose of the conventional dewormers. What happened when we did that was that the parasites got out of control because we had taken them off of a parasite management regimen that was just what they were used to and what their systems were used to. So to draw it all back, when you buy a flock, when you consider buying sheep, go to the original owners. Get the very serious lowdown on how they are treating their flock for parasites, and you probably want to follow that pretty closely when you bring them to your own farm. So now that we have parasite management as a major need for consideration established, a little bit of hay on my lens, we'll go with number 2, which is containment. We underestimated their ability to find holes larger than 6 inches, period. And that's really what you're going to have to watch out for. What we have going on here on farm is a tight perimeter fence of 6-inch hog panel around the entire circumference of our farm. Now, we installed this before we knew what we know now of electric fencing, so the question we've been kind of asking ourselves is, would we have done that if we had known how to use electric fencing back then like we do now? The jury is still out, but I am so incredibly thankful to have that tight perimeter fence because I think it helps with more than just containment, but containment will be an issue that you need to consider before your sheep come on farm. Our sheep came on property, and we had it was a really good fence. It was for cattle, pretty much relatively newly installed, 5-strand standard barbed wire fence. They just kept getting out everywhere. Then we installed the 6-inch hog panel perimeter fence, and the escapes were pretty much done at that point. Now that we're on intensive rotational grazing, today's struggle was they found a hole in the gate that was big enough for them to slip through, and they did. Today in particular, I am putting them through a retraining course for the electric fence, because over the past week we have had some lambs, specifically some of our smaller ewes, really disrespecting it. So we're gonna go through a little bit of a training camp today, which is what I'm setting up. And last but not least, number 3 is probably predators. If you're on a pasture-based system. This loops back to number 2 for us. We think that our really tight hog panel perimeter fences cut down on predators a lot. We are looking into getting a guard dog. Want to make a smart decision on that front. But predators will be number 3 on the list. This list has been based on our farm experience. These 3 things are all things that unfortunately over the years we've actually lost livestock to. And it is in order of loss in a sense. So predators, number 3 on the list. Containment is number 2. And parasites are number 1. So I hope this helps. 3 things to consider before buying sheep. Hope it helps you guys get a jump start on whatever your endeavor is. Don't be scared. Know the risks. Do it. I'm going to leave them in here for a bit of a retraining process to the electric fence. It's the first time I've actually ever done a retraining process at all, but I think it's really time because we are going to move them to the back pasture for the winter. They're going to be a little bit more out of sight. So I'm going to string it up here. I'm going to bring them in, going to feed them hay for a day, and then we're going to go from there, see how it works. Alright, thank you guys so very much for watching. I appreciate your support so much. And I look forward to catching you again next time on the next episode of The Sheep of Harmony Farms. Cows are a little bit easier than sheep. Come on, sheep. Come on, sheep. Winnie, don't do that. It's mean. Come on, sheep. Just launched the sheep onto a new patch of grass after being in solitary confinement, well, not solitary, just confinement for the past 36 hours. They have been incrementally increasing their disrespect for the electric fencing, and so I stuck them in there with some hay and a hot wire. Hay and a hot wire for 36 hours. So far so good. They came out and made an immediate check of all of their boundary lines, and now they're getting to grazing, so we'll see how the next couple days goes.